I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We would like to start with some special recognitions. Junior high, I believe you have some good news to share with us.
Absolutely. I'd like to wish congratulations to the following junior high band students for being selected to participate in the East Central Middle School Band. It should be East Central Middle School District Band. It's my fault to put that out. Selected for concert band were the students Jenna Brock, Paul Cozart, Lexi Wallace, and Evan Morris. Selected for jazz band were Elizabeth Dieter, Alex Lee, Gavin Margold. Jenna Brock was an alternate, Paul Cozart, Evan Morris was an alternate, and Jude Short. In addition, we've got a new club at the junior high. It's called the She Shed, helping junior high girls. It's not sponsored by State Farm, but Mrs. Morris's husband is a State Farm agent. She Shed is an after-school club for 7th and 8th grade girls. Ms. Spears, Ms. Zimmerly, and Mrs. Morrison host She Shed every other Wednesday after school. Anyone is welcome to attend, except for me. They kick me out. They offer snacks and focus on a particular craft or activity for that day. The group uses this time to discuss different topics that students are dealing with, such as peer conflict, healthy friendships, and self-esteem. Their goal is to provide a safe place for students to come after school, and they have productive, supportive group discussions on topics that are important to students. Thank you for that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I have a thank you that I would like to read. As a board, we would like to thank Dr. Brent Underwood for helping us these last several months as we work through the process of choosing our district's next superintendent. We are most appreciative of his guidance and advice and hard work. Dr. Underwood collected information from a variety of focus groups, our administration, teachers, staff, and the community, and he did so through surveys and group meetings. This information that he gathered helped the board to identify common characteristics and skills that we all wanted to see in our new superintendent. In September, once the applications were received, Dr. Underwood began the preliminary interviews of 13 candidates. He met personally with those who lived within the state and conducted phone interviews with those that lived in other areas. He also helped to check references and researched each candidate before meeting with the board to share what he had learned. And based on his findings, the board selected 3 finalists to meet with us at the end of October for interviews. Each candidate's interview lasted about 90 minutes, giving us the opportunity to get the chance to know them a little better. But at the end of that day, the board came to a unanimous decision to offer Dr. John Isaacson the new position as our superintendent. And this evening, we formally accepted that contract, and it is official that Dr. Isaacson will begin that position as our new superintendent starting July 1st. So thank you, Dr. So we are, as a board, we are grateful for his help and ready to move forward and to see what the future has in store for us. Okay. We have a couple of visitors this evening that I think are going to address the board. Is she here?
She's out there with Regina. So
Okay.
That she saw her.
Okay, would you go see if she'd like to come in? It's Miss O'Donnell. So I don't know if she's still going to speak to us or not. But
We're fine. She's talking to Regina. We're good.
she doesn't want to? Okay. All right. So we have one visitor then. Our Hillsborough Chief of Police, John Hutt, is going to come and address the board. He has something to share with us. You will be allowed 3 minutes.
Thank
to
you.
speak, Okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Hudd. I'm the Hillsborough Police Chief. I was appointed as chief the first week of August this year. Been working good with Dr. Isaacson back when he was all the way back to junior high. We, as a police department, have gotten involved in the Jefferson County Shop with a Cop program. Last year, there was one department that really did it, and that was Festus. This year, it's kicked off to every department in the county, with the exception of Arnold. The city of Arnold does something else with the kids at their school district. We got into it later in the calendar year, but from right around the first of the school year, I guess it was, up until last week, we did a couple of what they call roadblock events, where we stopped and got money from people at the intersection of Main and 21. We did a couple of trivia nights up at Sausage Pizza at the other end of town. But over the time, since we started, we've raised a little over $9,000 for the program. And what we're doing is, the 17th of December, we're taking 40 kids from the school district that are underprivileged. And we're taking them to DeSoto Walmart, and they all get to shop for $100 worth of whatever they want to buy.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool.
With help from the school district, they're going to bust the kids down there for us. I've already made contact with the counselor for the primary, elementary, and the intermediate school. The social worker that's in charge of those 3. She's already got the list all together. And then with the help, I talked to Mr. Groner this morning, with the help from kids from the high school, we're going to use them as chaperones that day for the before shopping and the after shopping. But you guys get them down there, watch them for a little bit of time, and then myself or police, fire, and EMS, whichever the child chooses, they're going to be the ones to go do the actual shopping with the kids. Up to $100 or whatever they want. And then it'll be up to the parents to come meet with us and get the stuff, and then take it home for them for Christmas. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys about
Thank you for sharing.
what we're doing.
Thank you for
Including
doing
our
that.
kids. That's
Um,
incredible.
Anything we can do for the district, we've been doing it. Things have changed a little bit different. We're a little more proactive, a little more out there for everybody to see. We're not just reactionary anymore, we're pretty proactive department. We just wanted to contact you guys and let you know what we were doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. All right, so let's move on then. We'll get to the consent agenda, the items on the consent agenda. There were a few things to look at, and remember, we did have some corrected minutes. That was what Beth Ann handed out to you, that was highlighted in yellow. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items? Thank you. Second. Any discussion on any of these items?
I just have a question. I'm not on policy committee anymore, but reading through all the policies, there was one, I believe it was IGAB, and the only difference that I saw that the words were changed from may to will, no, from will to may, and I was just kind of,
Do you want to discuss this when we talk about policies?
oh, I thought we were on consent.
We are on
Aren't they on
That's under
consent?
new.
No,
I'm sorry,
the policies are in a different.
sorry.
That's okay. It's all right.
Trying to get those.
Okay,
Yes, I do.
okay, so we'll come back to you on that when we
Okay.
talk about policies.
Sorry.
All right, any other issues on the consent agenda? Okay, so the motion is to approve the items on this list. All in favor? Raise your hand, please. Thank you very much. Okay, gets us down to reports. Dr. I, you have a notice to read first before we go to facilities. It's the notice of board filing.
Yes, I do. This is a notice of filing dates for the 2019 school board election. Notice is hereby given to the general public that the opening filing date for school board elections will be Tuesday, December 11th, 2018, beginning at 8:00 a.m. Interested parties may file at the superintendent's office during regular business hours. Candidates may file for one of the 3-year terms. Individuals will file for the term length to serve as a member of the Board of Education. The closing date for filing shall be Tuesday, January 15th, 2019 at 5:00 p.m. If school is closed due to inclement weather, the filing office will be closed as well. Adjusted hours during the holiday season will be posted at the superintendent's office. To qualify for the position of board director, a candidate must be a citizen of the United States, a resident taxpayer of the district, who has resided in this state for 1 year next preceding his or her election or appointment, and who is at least 24 years of age. Not delinquent in the payment of any state income taxes, personal property taxes, municipal taxes, or real estate or real property taxes. Have not been found guilty of a felony or misdemeanor under the federal laws of the United States of America, or a felony under Missouri law, or an offense committed in another state that would be considered a felony in Missouri. Not registered or fulfilled to be registered as a sex offender. Not registered or required to be registered as a sex offender. Publication of this notice fulfills the requirements of revised Missouri section 115.127, subsection 5. The address for the superintendent's office is 5 Ridgewood Drive, Hillsborough, Missouri, 63050, with Board Secretary Beth Ann Johnson. The seats up this year for this election will be Director Rob Cruz and Director Renee Sorensen.
Okay, thank you for that report. All right, so we'll move on to facilities and grounds. Then we'll have the report from Director Best.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Is it warmer finally?
Yes, took my gloves off. Renee did.
With a little sizzle. Well, I'll just go for a few things real quick. Pretty well what we've been looking at, of course, as y'all know, mostly is construction has been our priorities for the last few months as well, and we're still working toward that. Because our projected goal is, of course, to be ready for in December to be moving in, of course, so we'll get to that all day here shortly as we get some more information. But some of the stuff we're looking at is, of course, roof issues. I'm sure some of you might have heard some problems with the roofs at the primary and the junior high. We discussed this a little bit last month. We're still fighting those a little bit. We've got Tremco's coming back out with a group on this coming Wednesday to work on the one at the junior high again that seemed to cause more problems than what we started with. So they're working here on Wednesday, and then they're coming back on Friday to finish out the primary. So we'll be on campus for those 2 days to get those roofs hopefully done, and the weather hopefully looking like it's going to create good weather. Should get this fixed, so. But we have been fighting those issues for a while, and I apologize to you for that, but we are working on that. A couple other things that's kind of going on around the district as we see the construction keeps moving and improving us. We do have some fun stuff going on. Scott's got an assembly tomorrow for the veterans, so hopefully you guys get to that. High school and junior high is already done there, so did a great job for us. And we also got the Christmas Bazaar coming up. Everyone loves that thing. That's coming the 1st of December for us. And there's also, let's see what else is there going on during the week. Thanksgiving, we got that. That's always fun. And somebody gets some days off, so. But really not too much. Work orders about 149, so pretty well just a standard month, taking care of stuff, going around the school and getting assembly set up and all the people taking care of events. So hopefully we're just keeping things going like it's supposed to be. So that's where we're at, pretty well. So, any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, technology report, Director White.
Good evening. Between October 12th and November 7th, we completed 155 work orders. We're still continuing our progress with the construction, most recently setting up the tech equipment in the elementary office. Got that set up. We hardwired and added SSD drives in the Project Lead the Way lab at the junior high. And basically that's going to help the PCs to load up a little bit faster and take care of any networking issues. And as far as training, Mark is still attending training on the front line. Aaron went to the MoreNet conference and came back with some really good ideas. And I did a presentation on Infinite Campus quick assessments in the grade book. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our financial report from Kelly Gage. Alexis.
I apologize, I just opened up the board packet and I saw my thing wasn't in there. I was out of town when I emailed it, so I don't know what happened.
Thank you.
Hand out here the audit reports, and then the auditor will be here next month to present to you. So you have plenty of time to look through it.
To read through all
I
of
did.
it.
I bet you do. So we have Black Friday reading.
That's right, that's right. Like,
What we
keep in mind,
standing on.
we're ordering online,
Either
whichever it is. Here's my graphs. Kathy was able to bring those up. We're still trending pretty much the same as we do every year. Next month, well, this is through October, so through the end of November, we're still going to continue that downward slide on our balances. And then once we start receiving our tax revenue, it'll
Got my bill today.
climb back up, and it's always good if we're following that same line. So, you go to that next page, Aaron. So you can see the number part, we're trending the same percent of budget, pretty much right on with how we usually do. So everything's going good. It's just what I would expect to see. So that's positive. I did want to tell you one thing about the audit report. The auditors did have a finding in our report, and that was due to that overpayment of Dr. Foreman. So, but they have notes in there that it was taken care of and everything, so. And, but I want to make you aware of that before starting it out there, and they did make a note of it, so. Okay. That's normal, they do that even if they do testing on any of our programs and find anything, so. We put processes in place and then prevent that from happening again, so. If you have any other questions, if you want to call me anytime next month before the next meeting, talk to me about anything, just feel free to do that. Okay. Any other questions? No. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the facilities usage report submitted by Mr. Moreno. Were there any questions or concerns about that report that he submitted? Is there anything you need to add or you want to address?
No, it's a fairly simple report now. We've got it down to a science. It takes about 5 minutes to run, and it's no problem to provide you guys every 6 months. And all the information's there. You can see that our facilities are used quite a bit by the community, and that's good.
All right, any questions for him? Thank you. All right, we'll move on then. There is no unfinished business at this time, so we'll move directly to new business, starting with the approval of change orders. And here's another one. That was listed for you, and you, if you have any questions about any of that, of the change orders, we'll, I'm sure, be able to address that, Dr. Isaacson. Anything you need to talk about or discuss as far as change orders?
Mr. Best, anything that is outstanding? A lot of these have been done.
Yes, a lot of these are in process or completed already at this time. So we're in pretty good shape with these. There's a few that's still not coming to you yet, but we're still looking at them. But the ones you have at present, I think, are pretty accurate and done.
So we just need to approve the 28,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So this is batch number 6 in change orders to approve the
I
28,401.
move to approve the batch 6 change orders.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or comments? All in favor of approving these change orders for 28,401? Thank you very much. Okay. Next item has to do with the pay application, and Ms. Ginge, I think, is going to address this at this time.
I do have copies of that. Hand out to you, because it was not a part of the warrants. Go ahead and get that paid. This is the short form. The long form is about 5 inches thick with approvals and stuff, so that's the summary. Yeah, that one's easy reading, promise. I don't think there's really much to say about that one. Just we'd like for you to approve that payment so we can send it out to them.
So we're looking to accept payment, or the payment of pay application number 6? Is that right?
Yeah.
Can I make a motion to approve it?
Certainly. Thank you, and then Renee. Any discussion? Give you a minute to kind of look at it since.
I tried to circle those dollar
I
amounts
see that.
on those applications, so.
Mhm. Okay. Is there any other discussion? We're still reading, I guess. This is payment number 6, correct? Okay. All in favor of approving these payments, raise your hand, please. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the construction that we need to consider towards the elementary. Roy is here from Art Images, and he's going to discuss and share some things with us first.
Good evening. Good to see you guys. It's been a little while since I've been here. Wanted to bring you up to speed on a couple of items. One is our construction program budget that kind of updated with all of our current costs and some future information for you. I'll go run through all of that here with you real quick, and then I've got 2 of the other projects I'd like to talk about for a brief moment and discuss those. So what I've just handed out to you is our updated program budget, and you've seen this form before in previous meetings that I've attended with you. And as we go down the list, that first section A is our construction budgets that are under contract with Brock Miller Construction. You can see that the $3 amounts there that then add up to the total contract amount. And then item number 7 is the change orders to date, including the one you just talked about tonight. So that shows you kind of how much the different change orders are for, which gives you a total on line number 8 there for the current construction costs. Line items 9 and 10 are 2 items. One of them has been on our program budget since the beginning, holding a set of money aside for the junior high slope stabilization project. So what I did is I reorganized this a little bit to try and give you guys a glimpse of where the construction costs are at the top, and then the rest is below that. So we've got our 200 budgeted for that, and then tonight I was going to introduce you to another project that we think is a good use of the funds over at the elementary school, and we budgeted that at a 200 based on some conversations we've had with the contractors on scope of work that I'll show you here in a few minutes. Then as we work our way down, you can kind of see how we've got the areas broken out. We've included the costs of the security film in this one here that we've done for the high school and intermediate, and then we've gotten some budgets for the junior high, elementary, and primary. So that's kind of all inclusive of your schools for this security film. So we put that into the budget. To date, on C1, we've got a furniture amount that we've spent for the furniture, and so that totals at $239. That will include a budget amount of $50,000 that we've kind of set aside for this elementary project that I'm going to be talking about here in a minute. Category D, some of those, D1 and 2, have been already paid for. That was early on. It's always been on the budget sheet. 2.1 is our budget amount for the fees for the slope for my engineers and our soils engineers, their fees to do the documentation that's going to be needed for the stabilization process. And so we'll come back to that. And then line 3.1 is additional fees that we're going to be needing for this elementary project for architectural, engineering, all the other fees for that. And then we've got our materials testing on D4. Excuse me. That is current to date, what we paid PSI, which is our materials testing engineers, looking at that. As we go down line up, category section E, we plugged in the current costs for the technology block, and then items F have been there from day one for the other miscellaneous costs. So bottom line is we still, even with a couple projects that I want to talk about, are still looking at almost 2.65% of contingency left over. That we can then start to look at. If you remember, we had kind of our matrix before of all the things that you guys need to get done. If we want to start looking at some of those other projects, as we wind this one down, we can start to look at some of those, and we can come back next month or so and start talking about some of those. But you can see that we're in real good shape, I think, for this project as far as the contingencies that we are at and trying to hold our costs. So, any questions on this before I give you the other ones?
And a couple of items, Roy and I visited the junior high slope control.
Mhm.
We didn't get that information. I feel comfortable putting it to this board meeting in time to review it. So that will come up in December for vote with more information in the executive summary. That'd be at the December meeting. And we discussed the matrix.
Yes.
Kind of cleaning up that spreadsheet, if you remember, from way back when, was like, I requested that Roy, go through that. What have we done? Where are we at? And have an idea of what is, with the amount that we have left, what directions can we go to get?
Yeah, I'd like to go through that and actually show you guys by almost highlighting them out what we've actually accomplished. You'll be surprised at how much we did get, completed for this in our top priorities. You remember we had those in different priority lists, and I think you'll be satisfied or proud that you guys are able to accomplish a lot of that for what we've done already. And then again, start to look at, what is the next step that you want to take? What do we want to start to tick off of that list if possible? So I think we can certainly if you want to, we can bring that back to the December meeting and introduce that to you a little bit. Okay. I'm going to hand out a couple of drawings here. These have to do with the elementary main level. If you remember when we were building this project, the upper level of that new addition in the back, we had called that out to be shelled out, meaning just the exterior and the roof to be installed, and to leave the space open for future construction. And so it was done that way in the original proposal and construction budgets. And now we've got a real good use for it, I think, to be able to enhance the special school aspect of your campus. If you look at that second page there, it gives you kind of a layout of this area. Meeting with your instructors and directors and stuff for that special area. It was desired to have 2 good-sized classrooms that I've got shown there on the right-hand side of the page. 2 pretty equally spaced classrooms with a shared teacher office in the middle. And then within that center area is what they call the white room. Kind of helps the kids calm back down and be able to get back to themselves. We've designed that to have multiple entrances off of both classrooms, so it's very user-friendly. You can use it from either side. And when we go designing that, we'll make sure we have the right hardware and the right light switches and all that stuff for those types of facilities. Next to that is a couple of cabinets and storage areas to be able to support those 2 classrooms. We'll have those all nice and neat and safety with the doors and the locks and stuff that were needed. On the left side of the corridor, a couple of specialty rooms, the sensory room to the far lower left-hand corner, and then a small kind of administration office along with a recovery room. And then also within that area, providing a single restroom large enough to have a transfer table if needed, for special needs and stuff like that. So we think we've gone through, 5 or 6 different plan tweaks, and I think this is kind of the best overall of the people that we've kind of showed it to, and they're in charge of this area, and they all think that this is the right direction, the way to go. I want to introduce that to you guys and let you ask any questions if you have any for that.
Anybody have anything they want to address?
So
Very similar to what we saw.
You said you talked to the teachers that would be working in here, I'm sure, with
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, we had a group of 5 or 6 to start with, and then we kind of honed it down to the people that were really looking at doing the conversation. So I think we got that to where we needed to be, right?
Is the access for the bathroom into the sensory room, or is this just the one out of the hallway?
No, it's within the hallway.
Okay.
It's that way the classrooms can use it, and also the other specialty rooms can come out in the hallway and utilize that too.
So where is the access for the sensory room? Just over there on that side, then they come all the way
Yeah,
around?
they come straight down the corridor.
So it's really, I'm just looking at it, and it looks like is this a wall here?
No, that's a dimension string.
Oh, okay.
It basically tells you that from here to there, that's 15 foot 2.
And is this a normal dimension for a sensory room? It's so big.
It's a multi-purpose type sensory room. I think you have plans that you were looking for that
You
size.
also gotta be careful on, like, you put a swing in there, you have to have so much space around it as well. So you gotta take that into consideration as well. So we've seen some that can be 8 by 10, and there's nothing but just maybe some vests and stuff like that for the kids just to go into, or you can actually have more things in there. So you can also do OT in there, so they work on the sensory components as well. So it's not just to access with the sensory component, but actually related services can also utilize
So it
that.
wouldn't just be, it would be a multi-purpose room.
Correct.
So we don't need to think of it as just a sensory room. I mean, if you have a swing in there and all these other kinds of equipment, it's going to be like,
That's a swing is for a sensory component.
Okay.
But it's all types of it, so it's not just the physical aspect of it, but it's the compression, it's the weights, it's all that other component. So it's kind of a multi-tiered component to it, not just one single sensory component.
And along those lines, the $50,000 for furniture, which that seems like a high number for a small space. It's forgetting the very specialized items that we'll be doing it the right way in the first place.
And the costs are in here already.
They are,
So
yeah,
those you
we've
identified.
incorporated those into your latest budget, so.
Like even the flooring would have to be different, right?
Yes, we'll be working with you guys.
So that's all worked in there? and-
Right. When
Okay.
we start to look at the design of it, we'll be hand in hand with your group to make sure that we get what they're looking for, offering some suggestions and stuff. But yeah, we're very sensitive to this type of construction and this type of design.
I guess, for me, I just find it interesting to not have access out of that room into a bathroom for some kiddos. I'm just kind of, I don't know, I get a little bit.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
the-
Is it to have a bathroom accessible to these more high-need areas?
But if you look at it really, and if you go to the very bottom of the page, the double door that goes in that corridor,
Uh-huh.
the reason we had to have a corridor through this, I'll call it a suite,
Mhm.
is for exiting requirements, okay?
Okay.
If it weren't for the exiting requirements we needed, we could have done a couple of different things. But by putting that restroom in directly off that corridor, it allows for the multi-use of that suite to use that restroom.
Okay. I mean, I can see it's very
And
close.
it's a
I
very
just think-
short distance, right? I think it's probably, maybe 12, 15 feet from the door to the door, something like that, so.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
just
a-
thinking about like, the really high problem behaviors, if you had to like walk them all the way out to the hallway. If you
Yeah.
could have an access, would that be,
Yeah,
better.
in this situation, the only way to have that access would be to eliminate the utilization of, say, the transfer table. And I
Mhm.
think in this type of suite, we see the need for that more than not.
okay.
And so I think you're,
I mean, you guys are the experts. I
Yeah.
just think about like, you guys are the ones that deal with it more. I mean, but it just to me, it seems like that would be a thing that kiddos
Mhm.
would need a little, but, and if
Yeah.
it was, sometimes that's, when we're looking at these plans, the bathrooms become, I don't know, if you could put another door in there, but I get it.
So, as a board, are we going to approve these plans to make it move forward? Is that what we're looking
Basically-
at this evening?
Is the executive summary is to approve
I did
the
that.
allocation of the $16,000 for the architects. They got to draw it all out to then get the final bid
Okay.
to get the firm number on it. So it's to be like a two-step process, am I right?
yeah, what we need is, we need to be cut loose real quick to get the drawings drawn so that we can get the contractor to give us a cost estimate or cost for the actual construction. What he's given us to date, the 200 range, is based on this drawing alone, which doesn't have all the detail to it.
Sure.
We've given him verbal that, yeah, it's masonry walls and it's this and that, but we need to get into the detail so that we make sure we got everything covered. And so that's what we're asking for tonight, is to be able to go ahead and move forward with that with our consultants.
So the recommendation to us is to approve the request for drawing the elementary addition related to the completion of the K-6 special ed center.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, motion. Okay. Any other discussion?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Did you guys already tell us this? I'm sorry if you did, but what was the ballpark number? I mean, we know what this is costing to prepare the drawings, but what was the ballpark?
For the cost of this build out,
Yeah,
we were getting ranges from that 190 to 200 range,
okay.
for the full build out of the contractor's cost. And that's in that line
So
item
this is the one that's left.
that we had above on A10.
Okay, well, yeah, it's just 200.
Right.
Okay.
So even with the cost of constructing this, or finishing this special ed center, we'll still end up with 2.65% left that you have
Right.
there at the bottom.
Yep. Like I said, we tried to incorporate all
That's what I thought.
known future costs in this latest budget. So we had a good handle of, hey, we're still safe, we're still
Very good.
in good condition.
And is the $50,000 for the equipment and furnishings, is that sufficient? Or, I know the cost of special needs materials can be extremely high.
This is something that I've started gathering more information on, just making a list of everything, because yes, they typically, when you're dealing with special needs, they can be a little bit higher. So I've started kind of gathering that, looking at each room specifically, what materials, what needs to be in there, and start kind of getting kind of a ballpark figure on that end of it. So I have started that process. I'm probably, I would say, 3/4 of the way through that list, just kind of getting an idea. So I'll definitely be able to have more information at the next board meeting regarding, some more specifics. But it's at least a ballpark figure at this point. But yeah, it is usually more costly just because of, there's only certain companies that will make those products.
But I would expect those costs actually be higher,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, so.
Okay.
I'm excited that we're not just we're being able to do something with the space
Instead of
instead of
leaving it.
leaving it as
I agree.
a storage bin,
Right.
which we know what happens to those
Yes.
extra spaces in our homes. And
I mean, we had it set up, the bones of it, so to
Right.
speak, to put 3 classrooms there, but the need isn't there
Right.
yet. This is more of a need, and I think it'll be really a
Yes,
good
we've
fit
seen
for
that
your
here
district.
over and over. And we still have some money left over.
And still have plenty left over.
And it's
yeah.
on book ready.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve this, I lost my paper, what did we say? To approve the request for the drawings with the architects. Okay, all in favor of approving that request? Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, I got one last thing
Okay.
real quick, just as a quick introduction, is the third sheet
Oh.
in that packet, is kind of that slope stabilization, just as a reminder sheet, and then we'll bring that up to you guys for approval at our next meeting. So I just want to let you know what that was for.
So you're going to bring this back in December?
I can bring this document here back, and we can, formally then ask for approval to move that forward, but I wanted to give you an introduction of what we've been talking about. It kind of shows you the area, and we've got some initial data from some engineers on what we're trying to do, but we need to formalize that and then get our engineering staff to draw up the plans to get that bid properly. So
What kind of wall are you looking at?
it would be a heavy rock or not gravel, but boulder type wall for the buttress. We've got our soils engineer looking at what the options were. Most economical would be that, especially in that neck of the woods, so to speak, because it's kind of down the hill and out of the way. So you don't want to go putting in a large concrete retaining wall. That would be kind of a waste of your funds. So we're looking at doing some eco-friendly type, rock buttressing, and then having that sloped down there in that area. So I think it'd be a good fit for that slope. And then stabilize that so we won't get any additional moving over the future. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item. You were given the summary about the location of prom. So I'd like to entertain a motion from someone to approve the 2019 prom to be held at Orlando's and to approve the contract. Okay. Any discussion? Any questions about what was given to you? Mr. Marino is here if you have questions. And remember that this is not it's a paid student activity, so it doesn't come out of our budget.
You just want to come up and sit down. don't you?
I didn't, but I felt like I always was obligated when she said my name.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Any questions then? Must be.
You made the trip.
This is the greatest prom contract approval ever.
Okay.
I want to go to the ice cream bar. I'm
That
glad it's
sounds
not
like
Magic
fun.
House.
Well, speaking on behalf of the prom sponsors, we're always looking for chaperones, so please come on up and
Oh my
enjoy some
God, I
ice cream
love
bar.
that.
and-
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
Mom. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the contract and for prom to be held at Orlando's Event Center. All in favor?
Awesome.
Have a great time.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, the next item has to do with the pay-pam service agreement. And we need a motion to approve that service agreement as presented. Thank you, Beth. Second? Okay. Discussion? Questions?
I have a
Okay.
question.
Would you like to address it to Mrs. Jackson?
Mrs. Jackson.
Mrs. Jackson, would you come up, hon?
Sorry, putting you in the hot seat. So, I'm a parent, you know that.
Yes.
I have been consistently unhappy with pay pams as a parent.
Okay.
Because I would love to do direct payment and the charge is too high. So I really did some Googling and researching, and we're one of the very few districts in this area that uses pay pams.
Right.
And I wondered if you could speak to us about the other options that we could utilize, like the other
Your service
districts are.
software is Ash, probably 15 years old.
Mhm.
And this company is a sister company of Ash.
Mm.
So it works, they work together. And they're actually going web-based,
Uh-huh.
so we're gonna have to look at, yes.
So when I looked at
Because they're
this,
on New Jersey, and how we came to have them, that was before.
it's really unusual. When you look at how many districts use it, it's very few, and it's because it's so expensive. And when you look at, am I wrong here? It's increased now this year.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
A lot.
So,
We have a lot of parents that are using it.
that are what?
Using it
No, not about how many people are using it. I mean what we're paying to use
is
it.
the same as it was the last
So
time.
$1.95 per
Mhm.
transaction, because
It's been that way for a very long time.
Okay. Well, I just looked at some other districts, and I called a few of these other places, and they said that we could, but, I mean, they are not aware of our software, I'm sure, but,
Yeah, that's the whole thing with our,
so have we investigated other, is it really that we are just completely locked into them? Because, I mean, it's really,
we're locked, as far as I know, we're locked with them.
they're making a
Until they
ton
work
of
together.
money. They're making a lot of money
But
off
we
of
have
us.
talked about looking at food software because they are going web-based and they're not going to support what we have now anymore unless it's just so much money.
I just
It's
want,
like
I mean, we have a potential to make,
$5,000.
we have the potential to make the money here.
Right.
with using our own software. And I mean, I know we've been using them for a long time, but I just,
Yeah.
it's frustrating as a parent if they are, I think they're killing us here.
It's something
So,
that you need to look at. It's just having the money to do so.
We did look at possibly the district paying that fee because
Yes, we
I
did.
talked to some other school districts and
Then you have
some of the districts pick up that fee, but it was a lot.
It was
Yeah.
a lot of
And it
money.
just couldn't.
Because you have that credit card.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting, I
A
mean,
different
it is really strange
collector.
to me that, and I get it, but you guys were, it is out of New Jersey. We're like the only one in Missouri that's
We are.
using pay
I
pams.
think there's one
The-
more. There used to be.
And there's so many options. I called like 2 of them and they were like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is so much cheaper.
It's just.
And they provide a little bit easier service. I don't,
Like, we've looked at Infinite Campus because instead of putting letters in kids' boxes every day or the teachers' boxes, they email parents.
mhm.
So that would save us some postage possibly for 7
Pay
through 12.
Pam's emails.
Yeah, but for 7 through 12, we usually mail
Oh.
notices home.
Yeah, all of that
But,
is
I
just
mean, that's
over.
just-
I don't know. I just thought, my
Just
gosh,
having the
instead
money.
of locking us into another one, I would love to see us hit. the
And
road.
when I read this, I thought as a parent, I personally probably wouldn't pay almost $2 each time I wanted to put money in unless I did it once a semester and loaded my kids'
We have a
account
ton
up.
of parents that stop by our office because
Yes.
they don't want to pay a check in each building because they can come to us
Sure.
and do one check for all their kids. So,
But see, I'm sorry, I've
That's
done
okay.
that and it's been unfortunately dispersed to the wrong kids. So, I mean, I have a bunch of kids. And so then I have one who should have was down to -5 and then suddenly the other one has 40 because I wanted the 20 to go to and they're not all named the same. I did
Right.
name them different names. So, I mean, I don't know if, and I don't want to point the finger at you guys. I don't know. Their communication, I've been unhappy. I know parents are unhappy. They charge too much. We're the only district in Missouri. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think we've got to dump them, but.
Well, we're gonna have to look into some different options. and-
But, I mean, why aren't we looking into it? Why hasn't this happened?
Because I don't have money in the budget this year to pay for that.
To do the
I know, but we've
software.
been with them for
Because that would
20
be something
years.
I
What
would
is
have
the
to
software?
I
budget for.
brought this up a couple of years ago
Okay.
because the part that I had also added to it was, how we get notes for $5 here or $5 there every other week for our kids in the classrooms for various things, which I have no problem with. But it'd be so much nicer if we had a system where
It just,
we could just pay
Yeah,
the
we can do a
little
direct
fee
deposit.
things for the kids' classes.
And they're
And
out
I had
there,
looked,
I'm
like
telling you.
PayPal has a thing for schools and
Yeah.
various things like that.
There's so many out there. All you have to do is Google, and and I called them, and
Well,
they don't know what we
approved
have.
by DESE.
Well, I think there's a lot of them
Yeah.
that are approved by DESE. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, you just look at all these districts are sitting around, they're not using PayPams, they're all,
No.
and
It's just something we've had for 15 years. and-
I know it's time to, let's shake them off.
Ms.
I don't know.
Jackson,
Yes,
we're in the holiday season, could we put off table this for a month and do some, we'll sit
Research?
down and research,
Yeah,
and come
because-
up with some viable solutions and/or like,
because
It's
Infinite
not-
Campus, if we went with their food service software, it would be much easier for us because then we're doing a lot of things by hand that would, I'm not saying that's the one to go with, it's just,
If we can make it
Yeah.
easier for you,
Yeah.
easier for the parents, and cheaper,
yeah.
or like, this is a lot to ask, but instead of paying PayPams, what if we were making that money? What if we were charging those?
You would have to pay the fees for using the credit cards.
Well,
like
it might
companies,
be
and that is a lot.
actually worth it.
all of these companies charge a fee to make.
Oh, I
these
know they
payments
do.
online.
I know they
I
do.
don't know the difference in the cost.
No.
Well,
Because
put it
it's a
this
lot
way.
of money.
There's a reason, I'm not gonna say anymore, I've said enough, but
No.
$2 a whack, that's.
it's a lot.
Go ahead.
I don't mind helping Kim do some research on this, and we can look and see if there's
Great.
something else that works with PCS, and if it doesn't, then we can also look at other options that are out there and what our costs would be on that. So we can work together.
Yeah, because we've already been talking about this
Yes,
because,
we just talked not too long ago.
yeah, PCS is going web-based and to switch, we would have to be, it's gonna cost us as much as to go somewhere different, so.
Well, I would appreciate it, and I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine. I'm here for it.
I moved the table.
Okay, thank you very much. Do
The
you have a
only thing
second?
is, I was wondering about them cutting off parents possibly from,
I don't mind making a phone call.
I
If
can-
they're making $1.95 a transaction, I doubt they want to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
especially with
yeah,
a few
we're gonna have some
I
contracts.
mean, I
leverage.
can email her tomorrow, but,
We could, we'll communicate with them.
Okay.
I don't imagine.
They don't want to lose our contract, they don't have, they're not.
We can work through that. And they may, and then we'll just communicate with
was
our
there a time
parents.
limit on there? I didn't think there was like a,
Well, it says it's insured as of October 11th.
right, but I had asked her if we could have an extension. And she said, yeah, so I'm sure that would be fine to do December.
Sounds like a plan. then.
Okay, all right, thank you, no problem.
Yeah, we have to vote on the, right. So, the motion was made to table this to next month, so all in favor of tabling? Very good. I don't remember, there was a second, wasn't there? Renee. Okay, so the next item, moving on then, has to do with approval of the policy revisions. And there were quite a few policies listed. Is this our third reading or our second? Second. This is our
Just a
second.
quick question before we, does anybody have a blank page on
Yes.
GDC? Okay, we're gonna get that.
I asked that last month too.
Yes. But that's one we
Kind of.
didn't,
It got
we
pulled.
didn't have.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. So I know Beth, you were bringing up something earlier.
What you were talking about is a new policy, so it's not a change.
Well, it was a change in the wording.
Right,
Was my
right.
question, that the district will pursue versus may pursue.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not on policy committee this year, so obviously there's discussion that took place. And I was curious as to why, because I'm reading this and I'm thinking, if there's a staff member, employee, and that's part of their responsibility, I want them to pursue available state and federal funds.
Which
because
policy was that?
We're on IGAB. Instead of giving them may, sounds like we're giving them the option. And if it's part of their
Right.
responsibility, their job, then I was asking policy committee, why go with the weaker
Well, yeah, it
language?
says the district.
Correct.
Which would bind everybody. I mean,
Correct.
it's not just the employees. The board should have the flexibility the discretion to approve or not approve.
Which is true, but that is, we're not approving, it says pursue, which is seeking, information is seeking, and then it comes to the board for approval if, and we can go back to the bus grant. You know, if Kim had not been proactive to pursue that, then we wouldn't have gotten that money, and then it still comes to the board whether we approve it.
Sure, but what, do you want to then hold somebody and say, you know, I found this and you didn't pursue it, you know, kind of thing? I mean, I don't know why you'd want to shackle yourself that way.
I just have a different perspective. I guess.
Exactly.
Okay, let me read that again. So the district will pursue, instead of available states, take out the word all, and then that would make it a little bit weaker, but not take away a job responsibility. So I'm going back to the policy. Huh?
May sound like a choice.
Yes.
If you will, is we are going
Instead
to
of-
actively seek out and look for that.
But when you do that sort of thing, sometimes you create some situations that you don't want to create, whereas if you always have the choice, yeah, I mean, as a district, we could say, you know, we'd like you to look into these options or something, but
Well, I think we should always be looking for
I do
additional
too.
funding. I think we should always be looking for funding that's for students, and May gives us the option to not. You know, it kind of gives us that.
To me, it weakens
What?
it.
It weakens
weakens
it.
Well,
this policy.
well, it does, but the point being that it allows flexibility there too. When you say will, it eliminates any flexibility. You don't know what situation you're going to be in. If it's something, for instance, where somebody could get in trouble over, for instance, or something like that, I mean, it creates a priority here that somebody might not, we might unintentionally create that we don't need to. I don't see why you wouldn't want to have the flexibility there.
I think as a district, though, we should be seeking opportunities.
Well, should is fine, but that's, I mean, when you say will, that means
We will
almost
be- we will actively
you
be
have
looking.
to, and that should be, you know, I mean, that's an actionable priority then, in which case, you know, somebody could get a poor evaluation, for instance, or something over something like that. I don't know, I don't understand why you would want the flexibility, I guess.
Well, because we're talking about students, and, you know, when it comes to finding funding for our students. and-
Well, I think you're looking at this as a loophole, but it's not a loophole for somebody to be lazy. I mean, that's,
Well, but I think in the future, it could be read as that. I
Right.
mean, when I read it, career teacher and retired, and I'm looking at, okay, when people get, I loved education, and this is not a, but as you get closer to the end of your years, maybe you're not quite as forceful or looking for that. So I looked at that as, yeah, that is holding me as a teacher responsible, me as a director responsible for pursuing my job to the end of my career instead of, okay,
Well,
it is a
I just
loophole.
look at this as, this is a policy, this isn't like a
That's
job
true.
contract. And I think
That's
those
true.
duties and responsibilities should be, I mean, whatever we want them to do, that should be in their contract already. The policy is, this is a broad thing. We're talking about the district here, not
That's
really any
true.
individual employee.
But we're talking about lots of staff, lots of employees that need to, we want them for our kids to be as proactive as possible. And whether it's federal money for food service or
I just don't
bus
see it as
transportation.
I don't see it as a loophole that's gonna make people lazy, but I prefer to have the freedom of action. That was my argument. This is me.
So when you guys talked to, who, I don't know who else is on policy.
It was her and Sarski.
Okay.
It was mostly me.
And staff, were you on policy? What was, like, the teacher's reaction, MSTA, NEA? Do you remember conversation? Just asking, because I wasn't there, obviously.
I left during that meeting, but I do remember us discussing this one, and we did change, after long conversation, we did change it to this one. And we were okay with it.
You were okay with it? I just, personally, I had a personal issue with it.
Yeah, I think they have a choice. I think we should always actively be pursuing and looking at options.
Okay. So, were there any other concerns or questions on other policies? Just this one? Do we want to pull this one?
I would like to pull this one.
Okay. We're pulling IGAB for the moment. IGAB?
Yeah.
In general, I like to say for the record, I really wanted to streamline all these policies, but that really didn't seem in the scope of the meeting.
And you
So
mean
I'd like to go.
streamlined by what? What do you mean by that?
Just the verbiage in here. And the one thing did get streamlined, but I had so many things I knew we'd be there till doomsday if we went over all of it. I just like some opportunity to talk with somebody that we can change the process, that we can change some of these, just the wording in some of them is not digestible for the average citizen. It's pretty terrible. And some of them refer to the county in which the school resides. I'm like, well, we know what that is. Things like that. It's messy. These policies are messy, but that's not a what it does kind of thing. That's just how it reads kind of thing. So that's.
Well, this was the only one that, as I read through, it caught my eye.
Yeah, what you're talking about is what it does, which is a different.
Well, yeah, because
But
we
I'm
followed
just talking in
policy.
general, the policies.
All policies?
Yeah, all the policies really need somebody to go over, because they look like they were copy and pasted from the Missouri statutes, and those they're torturous. They're horrible.
Now, is there a difference between
Well,
a policy and creating, similar, like I created a certified employee handbook.
Yeah.
And basically, I went through there and just put them in layman's terms as to.
Yeah,
hey,
well,
this is-
these policies are, they're public documents supposedly guiding, how we direct things for the public to see, and they're not really viewable. I mean, they use the word moral turpitude in one of these.
Yeah.
A turpitude. I have a good vocabulary, and I had to look that up, and they could have just said depravity. No. They could have just said depravity, there's plenty of synonyms, but some legal aid somewhere when they drafted the law thought turpitude was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, that is just an example, and I don't want to distract from the issue too much, I want to put that out there, that
Something for us to
these,
consider.
these policies, the process is something we can change the process so we can more easily streamline them. Yeah.
Okay, so we have pulled IGAB, and if there are no issues, pardon me? I thought we had, we didn't. We have to have a second.
Oh, I see.
Okay. We're going to have to vote to pull it? Okay. Well, we'll just discuss it when we have to allocate it. But we had a motion on the floor to begin with, so we're gonna pull this one and re-examine it here in a moment. So we need a vote then to pull IGAB. All in favor of further discussion and pulling it, okay? All opposed? Okay, thank you. One opposed. All the policies that remain, we had a motion then to approve those policies. Are there any other questions or issues about those? All in favor of approving those policies except IGAB, raise your hand. All opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Okay, so we have IGAB left. We need to decide what we want to do with that policy then.
I move to keep the verbiage, the district will pursue versus may.
To not, okay, so maintain the will instead of the may.
To make it more strong.
Okay. Any other thoughts about that? So the motion is to keep the verb will pursue, if I could say that. All in favor of maintaining the verbiage of will pursue, raise your hand. All opposed? And abstain, did you vote? I didn't see. Okay, sorry, I didn't see that one. Okay. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on then to high school English courses that are being proposed. Okay, the recommendation from the English department and the administration and the guidance team are proposing to add a mythology course and a science fiction course to their offerings. So I need a motion first. Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. I know you had some questions.
I have about 5 questions.
Okay. And Dr. Freeman's not here.
Dr. Freeman's not here, Ms. Hildebrandt's not here. I don't know that anybody's here that can answer these, so.
I don't know.
I can try.
I can, Mr. Garner.
Mr.
Okay.
Browner, why don't you come?
Come on down, Mr. Groner.
Here, he doesn't come very often,
can
and we're
sit
gonna
this way.
scare him away.
Sorry, I was sleeping back there.
Sorry.
All right, I wondered why we were going outside the normal schedule of curriculum review for language arts to recommend these now. I mean, don't we usually have a process, like we're on a schedule for course evaluation or curriculum evaluation?
For language arts.
Yeah, but, and I'm just gonna go off of past experience. I know in the past, sometimes if we felt like an addition was necessary, it didn't necessarily have to come on a scheduled interval, as long as it could easily be done with the teaching staff that we have. And, we didn't have to, for example, sometimes we offer courses that, for whatever reason, don't make. There's not enough student interest. And then sometimes we might try to find a course that students would be interested in take.
We're on a seven-year course, even though we work with curriculum constantly, all the time, and with the elimination of that 3 and 4, it's with changing from the English 3 and 4 format to splitting it up more to try to give the kids at their interest level and get their English. It's based on need as well.
Okay.
With the elimination of those courses.
These are junior, senior electives, correct?
Correct.
Okay, then what 2 elective courses are these going to replace? Or are these going to be in addition to the elective courses we already offer?
They will be in addition to.
Be in addition to? What effect will offering these 2 courses have on class sizes at the freshman and sophomore levels?
I guess it could have some effect. It obviously will depend on how many sections of those courses are offered, and I assume it'll probably be 1 section each.
Well, I assumed that
Yeah.
also, but is there any way that, because I'm
You're
assuming.
asking, is it going to swell the lower level class
Yes.
sizes?
Yes.
I suspect it could make the classes go slightly bigger. I would think with the number of sections that we offer there, it'd be minimal.
Well,
I also think it's going to eliminate some of the advanced, a lot of the kids don't want to take the advanced composition and advanced literature courses, especially depending on their career or college track. And so some of the kids take those because we have fewer choices. Does that make sense?
yes, but then does that mean we'll no longer offer those advanced courses? Because I could see that those would be more beneficial to a college.
We will absolutely continue to, from my understanding, right, Mark?
That was my understanding, although I'll be real honest, Dr. Freeman was leading the charge on this.
And I was in part of this conversation. You may know more, but they will not eliminate those advanced courses from my understanding, because that's also some of our dual enrollment.
Okay, well, my big concern is that in other departments, sometimes we offer these specialty courses, and we may have an enrollment of maybe as low as, 6 to 8 kids in one of those,
Right.
where our freshman and sophomore courses, because that teacher's no longer available to teach those lower level courses, those bump up to the 30 range.
Sure.
I would hate to see that happen.
I don't think they would let a
Yeah.
class
I
go
don't
with
think
6 to 8
I
enrollees.
don't
They
think-
wouldn't.
I don't think we're in that situation.
But there's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. I mean, our schedule is student-led. The students are, they pick their courses, especially when it comes to electives, and that will ultimately determine what class makes.
Right, so if only 6 students sign up for, say, mythology, and then we end up having some English 1 classes that are going to have 30 or 35 kids in it, they're going to go to those 6 and say, listen, we don't have enough to pull a teacher for this hour, so we're going to have you choose a different course other than mythology.
Will that be a guarantee? Because it hasn't been in other, in the past. We have had classes where we've only had 6 or 8 in.
We've had some small classes, for
Yes,
sure.
and we've got these very large lower level classes, which I don't think is very good.
I know with art and foreign language, they
Well,
try
it's
to
happened in
avoid that.
social studies. I know that.
So what's the target minimum for a class to make?
Anything I say is going to be speculation.
Okay.
But, I would think 10 to 12 would be a minimum that you would want.
And it's going to
I
depend
know
on the
we've had some
department, how
courses
large the
that have
department
had
is.
less than that.
What the teacher availability is going to determine that too. per
And-
hour.
And another concern that I have is, what if the 2 instructors, what if one or both of those decide to move to another district, then what happens to the course? Because that has also happened.
When were we wanting to start these courses? It was January?
Oh,
Or next
no,
year?
Next
it'd be
year.
next
So we
year.
have time to ask
Right.
Dr. Freeman more questions when she returns next month.
I would really like to table
I
this.
apologize that I don't have better answers.
I understand, but I just don't feel like I've got enough information to make a decision
I
on this.
understand.
I make a
And
motion.
you've asked some specific questions that we can certainly get the answers to.
Okay.
I think you'll have a pretty good class size when
Right. I think
if
so.
some of the homework is playing video games.
Well, but my concern, Rob, is that they're pulling 2 teachers
Right.
into specialty courses where we may really need them down in those lower level courses that those kids have to pass to graduate. And-
I understand.
Yeah, and I think the purpose is to provide the kids with more choices.
Oh, I understand that, I do. But I still think you've got to consider those lower level kids first.
And I think,
Our-
like with any
In the
course,
English department, I think our numbers have been acceptable. I don't think overcrowding has been a big issue with the lower level classes, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Freeman isn't here, and Melissa isn't here.
Right.
But I think she should be able
Melissa,
to address your
we visited a little
concerns.
bit this month, because I asked her, when she said she was ill, and she was talking about replacing British lit,
If we're, I
If we're
could
gonna
see
table
taking
it.
away to and adding to, but not just to add to.
Because
You know
and I
what?
don't know,
British lit, I think you're right, John.
is
That they were
You're
gonna,
exactly right.
it
Now that you
getting
say
rid
that,
of
yes.
British lit?
I misspoke there, yes.
Because now, and this is
It doesn't
Purely,
say that in here. though,
I'm
does
speaking
it?
No, it
through
doesn't.
son experience, well, and maybe I will say something that will pique, something that occurred was Tyler, when he went through, took English 1 as a freshman. Then he took English 2 as a sophomore, and English 2 as a freshman, because he took English 1 in 8th grade. English 2 as a freshman, he couldn't take advanced comp because he wasn't a junior and couldn't get college credit for it. So they said, take British Lit, so you didn't go a year without English, but it didn't really serve him any purpose. And he was like, this is terrible. You know what I mean? Because it created that gap because he wasn't old enough to take the college course. Is that correct? I'm looking. Is that what? So I think that was kind
Brit
of
Lit,
the
did you ask me if Brit Lit is a college course?
British Lit is
No,
not
it
a
is
college
not,
course.
no.
It was just kind of that bridge I'll use
Right.
between
The
taking.
options for that bridge were limited
Yeah.
at that time.
The options
Is that you
for the
couldn't
were very limited,
take
yes.
the college one, or Tyler could have taken it as a sophomore, but then he couldn't have taken it for
And I
college.
think
You were
this
correct.
problem occurred with the change of adding English 1 down to 8th grade, and just exactly what you're saying with that bridge being so limited with the kids who are getting credit for English 1 as 8th graders,
And so they would either go a year without English,
which you really can't do because then you have to double up because you have to have 4
Yeah.
English credits.
but to that end, I think it's probably better, like you say, potentially just tabling it
Okay.
and bringing, to get the answers to make a long-term decision.
Okay, so we do have a motion. Angie made the motion to table it. Do you have a second? Thank you, Beth. Thank you for your help.
I was not hoping.
Well, you can take
Dr.
it
Frank
back
might be a
to
list of things to do in her absence. I didn't see English.
Right? All right, so all in favor of tabling this till next month? Okay, very good. And our final item on the agenda tonight has to do with the minibus replacement. So the recommendation was a Chevy 2011 G5 Microbird minibus for $10,200. That's the bid at this point. So do I have a motion to approve that bid for that bus, and then we'll discuss? Thank you, John. Second, Beth. Okay. You had an opportunity, I think, beforehand to read through the executive summary for this purchase. What questions do you have for our Director of Transportation? Anybody? She knows more than I think we, John? Oh,
I think it's,
okay.
I mean, what's the average price you normally have on a minibus, would you say?
It really kind of depends on the year of it.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good price for that.
I thought it was a pretty good price,
Yeah.
just from what I looked around.
Yes.
Well, the one thing I noticed is that we're getting rid of a bus without seatbelts, and we're getting a bus with seatbelts.
Sure. Right.
To me, that's huge.
Well, the other bus is totally useless just without seatbelts.
Right.
So,
I agree.
Okay. Everybody good then? So the motion is to approve the bid of Central State Bus Sales for a 2011 Chevy G5 Microbird minibus for $10,200. All in favor? Excellent. All right. And, okay, to adjourn. We're finished. Okay, so we have a motion by Beth and a second by John to adjourn this meeting. All in favor? Very good. Okay. Thank you for your attendance this evening.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And enjoy your holiday. Don't eat too much turkey.